Coaching, and I just wanted to hop on and do a quick video before I forgot, because that's the thing with insights. I talk a bit about insights with clients that I have, and it's kind of like when our mind is quiet, we can hear things that sometimes we miss, and that's what I call an insight. That's what people who practice the three principles or know anything about the three principles say, is that when we get an insight, it changes things massively. Even if it's just a little insight, there's kind of like a domino effect that then leads on to something else. So I was sat watching television this morning, and I had a bit of an insight, probably because I was watching television and there wasn't a lot of random thoughts coming in my head. And they were talking about fake news. I'm not sure whereabouts you are in the world that you're watching this, but in the UK at the moment, there's quite a lot of hype about a thing called a Momo challenge. It pops up, or evidently it pops up while children, quite young children, are watching things on YouTube. Peppa Pig, halfway through, a visual picture of something that's quite scary pops up, and then it gives them challenges that aren't very nice challenges. I don't want to give it any more airtime than what it doesn't deserve, so I'm not going to go into it. But it's fake news. It's not real, but momentum has picked up with it. In fact, just while I was setting up this, I had the second message from my son's school with a link talking about the challenge and what I can do to help my child about this challenge and everything. And it's fake. It's not real. There's been no evidence that these pop-ups are actually happening on YouTube. There's no evidence that any child has been harmed with this. And it suddenly popped in my mind that sometimes our thoughts are like fake news. A random thought will come in our mind, and then we build this whole thing around it. It kind of grows its own momentum, if you will. Some thoughts aren't fake, obviously. If you're remembering to pick your child up from school, don't think that that's fake news, because you need to pick your child up from school. But the thoughts generally that are about us, the surface thoughts, what are my friends going to think about me if I go out wearing this dress? It's not real. It's a thought, and it's based on something that isn't real. But once the momentum picks up and we put another thought on top of that thought and another thought on top of that thought, it then becomes like fake news. It builds a life all of its own. And the more we have these thoughts, the more we believe them, and they become kind of habitual and ingrained in us. Similar to fake news. Facebook now is and Instagram evidently is picking up on things now. It's not real. So what can we do about it? How do we know what thoughts are real and what thoughts are fake? Well, basically all thoughts are transient. They come and they go without us having to do anything with them. What happens is that we will attach onto a thought. We might add another thought on top of that one thought, and then we'll attach a feeling to it. And then slowly but surely it builds up. We build up a whole story around the one thought that if we'd have just acknowledged it and let it go, we wouldn't have used an awful lot of headspace on that one thought. So what can you do? Be curious about them. Do you know what I mean? Rather than being critical and building up this whole story about them, just be curious about them. What's that thought about? Does it mean anything to me? Is it important? Can I just let it go? But just be aware that our thoughts create our reality of the world. My thoughts are different to your thoughts. We could both be in exactly the same situation, and our thoughts would be completely different. That's the nature of being a human being, because some things mean something to me and some things mean something to you. And we're different people, we're unique. We attach our thinking and feelings to different things. I don't know, for example, what would onions? Some people love onions. Some people think that onions add fantastic flavour into the meals and everything. Some people are like, oh my God, they're the most disgusting things. It's the devil's work and all sorts of stuff. Where does that come from? It comes from being a human being and being unique. So we have different tastes, we have different likes, we have different emotions at different times. Some people can watch the same film and have a completely different reaction. Some people can sit and watch a film and think, oh, that was the best thing ever. I so got what that character was saying. And your friend next to you might think, what? I was bored to tears watching that. What is that? if our thoughts aren't based on fake news and what we then, make into our reality, what's it all about? So it's just amusing. I've not really thought this one through. It just came to me that our thoughts are like fake news, that often, if not always, based on nothing. And we make them into something that then becomes believable, and we then believe it, we absorb it, and we live our life on it, often like people do with fake news in social media at the moment. So just music, just have a little think about that. Be curious, not critical. That's one of my big phrases. It's not about, oh my God, I do that, and how can I stop it, and what can I do? Because that, again, is just building thought on top of thought. Just be curious about what we do. So that's my little musing for today. I hope you've mused along with me. And if not, that's absolutely fine. It's just one of my thoughts that I wanted to pass on to you. So have a good Friday. It's Friday today, the weekend. Yay! And have fun whatever you're doing.